Mario Ottiglio is a global health policy expert, managing director of the High Lantern Group, a strategic positioning firm, and joins us now from Naples, in Italy. Of course, Italy, Mario, one of the latest countries to impose mandatory COVID tests on passengers arriving from China. I just wonder, get your assessment of the latest situation and what China has done, the dismantling of their zero COVID policy and their issuing of passports and the ability to let Chinese travellers go abroad.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me. Clearly, this is let's say a situation of concern. The dramatic change in policy from the Chinese government will necessarily lead to increase in international travel, and that is going to inevitably expose destination countries to a significant number of incoming cases. In this very country, in Italy, we have seen already some episode of flights landing from China with a significant amount of positive passengers. I think what's going on, it's unclear, and that is I think part of the concern. If you check the news, if you read what's been written by virologists, epidemiologists, the potentially the high numbers and the vast population of China, combined with a relatively low immunity, could lead to the emergence of new variants, and I guess that is the concern that is now more and more widespread in the world.
Yeah, I mean, reports that we are seeing from inside China and the pictures from the hospitals there look very similar to the pictures we saw, some 3 years ago at the very beginning of the pandemic in Italy. How hard, though, is it to get reliable data from China when they've stopped issuing numbers and we aren't quite sure how reliable the information is?
At the moment where we are now, in these days, we have to talk about days, right? In a pandemic, I think data is critical. So transparency is fundamental. You have seen the WHO calling for transparency, for sharing the data, for conducting the studies on actually that the international community needs to help the world understand what's actually going on, what kind of variant are circulating. Because from the numbers, we may think, okay, this is Omicron, is something that we know, but it can be a combination of strain. It can be completely something new. And that is what we need, is data, ability to make a comprehensive assessment of the situation on the grounds. What's the disease severity? What is the hospital admissions? What kind of requirements China has? All that kind of elements are very important for us to assess what's going on, the severity of disease. And that is, I think, data we learned already from the very first, from 3 years ago. It's really king in this moment.
I mean, what we have learned is that zero COVID policy, it's very good at containing the virus or preventing it from getting into the country, but it is not a long-term solution. I mean, how irresponsible is it of Chinese authorities to dismantle their zero COVID policy so quickly? Presumably there will be an economic effect and an economic factor there, but at what cost to public health?
The cost to public health is significant now because, of course, you need to consider, of course, the surge in COVID cases, which per se it's a problem given the numbers again and the immunity situation. But you need to couple it also with the other infections. I mean, we have seen everywhere in the world the surge of influenza, of different other kind of viral infections, especially when you look at children that are hitting us because we've been locked down basically for long, and then you should consider as well the toll on mental health. For the Chinese population, is difficult now. They have moved from a situation of complete isolation, lockdown, to a situation where yes, they are free, but then they are being hit by this wave, and I'm sure the toll on the mental health is also going to be something that needs to be considered. So I would say the choice of moving from a zero COVID to basically a freer situation definitely has probably happened in a quick way. But as you said, there are reasons there, pressure, especially from within, that the Chinese government needed to deal with. But right now, we can still manage that if everybody behaves in an accountable way, as it should have been, since moment one of this pandemic.
Well, we thank you very much indeed for coming on the NewsHour and giving us your analysis. Mario Ottiglio there joining us live from Naples.
Thank you.